And I'm Brianna. And today we're going to be talking about issues with like light skin versus dark skin and how it is to grow up, um, light or of mixed race and the social issues that we have experienced. So, like, um, like what were the demographics like where you grew up? Like black, white in your schools?
My schools were mostly black throughout high school, pretty much. Um, at times, I got teased for my light skin. Um, I was called white boy for a couple of years, but I got over that. It wasn't at first. It was annoying, but I got over it pretty quickly, though.
Yeah, I let's see. My elementary schools were pretty much all white, so I didn't really have a problem in elementary school. But once I got into sixth grade, that's when I started having problems because it was the first public school I'd ever been to. The rest of them were private, and it was predominantly black and Mexican kids, and so they gave me a really hard time. I didn't have anybody to like play with or be friends with because the Mexicans didn't want to like be my friend, and the blacks didn't want to be my friend either, and so they would call me names like I got called white bitch and actually got into a fight. Got into a fight because of it, and yeah, I just got called names like all the time, and people were like, "Oh, you think you're better because you got good hair," and which I didn't even know what that meant. And like you got light skin, so you think you're better, like you're bougie or stuck up. So yeah, it was just hearing that stuff that like really irritated me and gave me like not really, I wouldn't call it self-esteem problems, but I had like color issues for a long time because that's when people started making color such a big deal, which I didn't think it was before.
I always heard people tell me things like, or imply that I got by my lighter skin, but really, um, if you think about it, I was somewhat being made fun of by my light skin. So really, I feel more. I got more the lower end of the stick because I was criticized for something I couldn't even control.
Right.
So I don't see that as being better. And what opportunities I may have gotten, I've earned. So I don't know. It's from my life and my experiences. I really didn't experience any extra privilege because of my skin or my looks or hair texture or anything like that.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, I hear a lot of people say, we do get privilege and we like supposedly had it better like in slavery because we were in the house and not in the fields and stuff. But what a lot of people fail to realize is like we may have been in the house per se, but that didn't mean we were treated any better. If anything, we were treated about the same or sometimes worse because of our lighter skin, especially by like the white mistresses because they knew their husband was like sleeping around with some slave woman and have little mixed babies running around the house. But but yeah, I haven't felt like I've gotten any privilege or anything because of my lighter skin. If anything, it's been, like I said, the same discrimination or worse discrimination, especially with friends or making friends because you have like the black people or darker people automatically thinking you're stuck up or you automatically hate them. And then with white people, I haven't, well, this one boy in fifth grade, he called me a mutt in fifth grade. But other than that, I haven't really had any um, slurs with white people, but it's like they kind of want to be your friend on their own terms, or they want to make an exception for you. So, and to me, I felt that that was in some ways worse too.
But not all white people are like that.
No,
But
not all.
there are a few people who do make exceptions. Like for example, I was making a joke about a group I was in, and I was saying that they are always late because we're black and at CB time. And Caucasian girl overheard us, but she was talking with us, and she was saying, um, well, she looked confused and she asked, "What is CP time?" And then this other guy explained it to her, and I was jokingly saying, "But I'm not late like that. I was just, I was being funny the whole time talking about CP time anyway." And the guy was like, "Yeah, he always be on time and stuff like that." And he's like, "But of course you do because you don't look black. You look um, like kinda black or something." It seemed like as if she was making an exception for me just
Mhm.
because I look lighter skin, but that doesn't. I mean, I can still have the same traits as any typical person, but and CB time is really just a stereotype,
Yeah.
although it seems to be true in a lot of people, but it's just maybe more of a coincidence than anything else.
Mhm.
But um, all I could do was just smile, even
Just
though I was
smile and nod.
just smiling at, even though I felt uncomfortable about her saying that. And then she was asking me my race and stuff like that. So I just told her, for the most part, I'm black, and if anything else, I guess that makes my skin lighter or my hair texture a little different is just through genetics. So that's pretty much it. I don't really classify myself as a superior black person. I'm just an average African American with, I guess, genetic features that makes me look a little different. But I don't know. I'm just content with who I am. I
Mhm.
have no problem with this.
Yeah. The experience that I had with that was when I was in high school, and me and a group of people in the class, we were talking about prejudice, like just having an open discussion about it. So this one Caucasian girl in the class, she admitted that she didn't feel very comfortable around black people, and that she would automatically lock the doors, like if she was sitting in the car by herself if there were black people around, but she wouldn't do it with white people. So I asked her, because we weren't really friends, but we would hang out a lot and talk. So I asked her, "Well, you talk to me and you hang out with me," and she was like, "Yeah, but you're not all the way black, so that's different." And I was like, "Oh, um, I didn't know what to say to that." So I was just like, "Oh, okay," and I just like smiled and nodded. But yeah, but comments like that were pretty common for me. Were people saying, I would have some um, white peers say, like, "Oh, you're," how they put it, they were like, "Oh, you're almost white," and so I'm like, "What the heck is almost white?" Like,
Oh yeah, I get
there's
that too.
no, I don't think there's any almost about it. It's but when people ask me what I am, which happens all the time, um, I tell them that I'm Creole, like just straight up. And then if they ask me, I'll just say black and French. I mean, the meaning is really deeper than that, but I don't feel like going into detail with people about it, so I just like leave it at that. But I get a lot of those comments, and people asking me if I'm adopted because
Yeah,
I
I've
don't look
actually
like my
got that.
mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, people. It happened mostly when I was smaller. People would ask me if I was adopted, or I would be talking to people and they'd be like, "So where's your mom?" And my mom would be like sitting right there next to me. But we laugh about it now because it's just funny people's reactions to it.
the main questions I get asked if I'm mixed or if my mom is a different race and my dad is black or vice versa. Um, but my mom's skin complexion is the same as mine, so luckily for me, I don't get asked if I'm adopted to her.
My mom is brown, so she has brown skin. So that's why a lot of people would ask me if I was adopted with her. Some people like couldn't believe that was my mom, even though we look alike in terms of like facial features. Like you can tell we're related. But yeah, people are crazy. Do people ever mistake you to be something else? Like assume?
People always assume that I'm some form of Hispanic, but I know that there are mixtures in genetic traits from ancestors here and there. So I'm very content with just knowing that. I don't really feel I have to prove that I'm 30% one race and 50% this race and 20% this or 10% something else.
Hmm.
But eventually I will when I have kids, so I can tell them.
Um, let's see. People, for the most part, will automatically assume that I'm Hispanic. When I go home, Hispanics will start talking to me in Spanish, and I like,
Wow.
sometimes I can understand because I've taken Spanish before and I'm pretty good at it. But sometimes I have no idea what they're saying, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't understand. But yeah, for the most part, I get mistaken for different forms of Hispanic or strictly biracial, like they think I'm straight up black and white.
Yeah,
But
same.
but in my family, like my mom's family is mostly black. I know there is some admixture because my great grandmother was white or white in something, but they pretty much all identify as black because they're all brown to dark skin. They look like average African Americans. And then my dad's family, we all look the same. We're all bright, the same curly, thick hair. So, but I'm really not interested in, like you said, I'm really not interested in the percentages per se, like 40% this or 60% that. That doesn't matter to me because I know we're all basically, I pretty much know our lineage. It's basically, you imagine like biracial people just marrying each other like over and over, and that's basically what we are. So, but I'm content with what I know. People think that when my hair is straight that I permed it, or um, yeah, they'll think I permed it, or they'll ask me. I had one girl here actually ask me, "Does your hair just grow long because you're mixed, or can black people grow long hair too?" And I was like, "No, black people can grow long hair." I'm like, it has nothing to do with like mixture. It's how well you take care of your hair
Yes.
that matters. I'm like, there's no special gene.
Some people feel that their hair doesn't grow as fast as other people or African Americans are stereotyped as having short hair and their hair not growing. Well, that's that is a myth. All hair grows 6 inches per year. It grows a half an inch a month, a little over, a little under, but for the most part, your hair will grow 6 inches per year. The only difference is in length for people who are African American is that the ones who don't take care of their hair, um, while the hair is growing at the root, it's breaking off at the ends because either it's damaged due to straightening a lot or it's damaged due to um, getting perms, getting relaxers,
Weave
and getting weave
that's put in the wrong way.
and washing your hair a little too much or not moisturizing your hair. Also, even if your hair is not breaking off, it could split if it's not moisturized because the ends need more moisture than the root because the ends are the older parts of the hair. But yeah, your hair should be moisturized. Your hair should not be washed every day. It should be washed based on your type of hair. And that is something that is a personal thing. Some people every other day, once a week. It depends on your type of hair. And if your hair is curly, the space in between washes should be greater because, or co-wash. You could co-wash in between, like
Yeah.
washing your hair with conditioner, which is not as harsh as
Shampoo.
shampoo. When I was listening to like my parents and school, like the history classes and stuff like that, when they mentioned how you know there was slavery and civil rights movements and how African Americans had to do sit-ins and stuff like that for their rights. It made me get somewhat prepared for white people or different race because I didn't go in thinking, oh, okay, I don't like them because of what they did. If I was to approach them, I would prepare myself for like the worst or prepare for something. So I was more, I guess, guarded, but still, I allow people to prove themselves by personality.
I remember when I was getting ready to go to the sixth grade, the school that was predominantly black and Mexican. And I remember my grandpa telling me, like, oh, he was like, you may have trouble, or, the kids may not like you, or it may be hard. And I really didn't think anything of it because I'm like, well, they're black and I'm black too, so there would be no issue. But that was the first time I did experience mistreatment, and it wasn't. Um, I I didn't really expect it to be that way, so it was like kind of disappointing when it happened. And I did develop a prejudice because of it. I associated darker skin with like being mean, um, or ignorant about certain things. But then over time, as I got older and matured, you remember to um, base people on their individual actions and not like for a whole group of people. I remember in high school there was when in a class we were talking about like civil rights or discrimination or whatever. So the conversation turned into personal experiences with prejudice, and we had a diverse class. It was black, white, Hispanic. So this one girl, she was saying how she felt black people were the most discriminated against, but the way she was saying it, it was kind of um, like a oh poor me type, basically like kind of complaining or making it sound like a victim thing. So me and another friend who's biracial, we tried to talk about some experiences that we had, and she was like, "Oh, y'all don't know how it is to be discriminated against because y'all have it easy because you're light or whatever." But it was like anything we said didn't matter. So in some ways, I feel like there is still a double standard when we talk about these things. And it's like if you're lighter, you supposedly can't understand what it's like, or you're trying to like complain or like be the victim of something.
Yeah, that is definitely a double standard, which sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, even still to this day, I get jokes like, um, being light skinned and how my type of people stayed in a house and didn't really do any work and stuff like that. It still shows that there is segregation within the African American community
Yeah.
based on skin
Color.
color, which is is crazy because you can't change your skin color.
Right.
As a community, and I'm speaking to the African Americans. our race came from so much, and we have to prove ourselves from for over a lot of things, and we came a long way. So I feel that I think we're doing a disservice by
Worrying about petty things
petty
such
things.
as color or who
Hmm.
had it better in slavery. Because the truth is, it doesn't matter who had it better, and in reality, neither one of us had it any better. We all had our own issue.
Hmm.
Darks had their own issue, and lights had their own issue. For a while, people would say, they would just assume I was bougie, like just for being light skinned. Like they didn't even know me or anything about me. And they're like, oh, you're bougie, you're stuck up because you got light skin and good hair. And which I didn't know what that meant either, the good hair thing, until like sixth grade. But I'm like, I'm not bougie.
So calling me bougie is kind of like, I don't know. It's weird. I mean, because that's not my personality. You
Right.
can't associate my skin color with
A personality.
a personality
Yeah.
because
Because that's just a broad generalization. Like, I remember mentioning that I didn't like rap music or I don't watch BET, and it was because I was bougie. I'm like, no, I just don't like it.
yeah.
And another thing that I think we have to stop that I see is the terms like acting black or acting white or doing white people things or black people things. It's like crazy. I had this girl that I was friends with for a long time, and it's like she would pick on me, but I thought it was more of like joking. So sometimes I would get mad about it though, because her and her mom thought that I liked white people things. Like when I would go spend the night over her house, I had a white Barbie doll, and she'd be like, "Why do you have a white Barbie doll?" And I'm like, "It's a doll. I don't like any dolls, but it was a white one." Or like the fact that I liked to wear Converse was like a white people shoe. Or I used to like to listen to like Green Day.
I feel the term you're trying to be white or you're trying to talk white or you're trying to act black is really hurting our youth and our society because if you think about it, the young kids that are looking up to us are seeing how they're treating people who talks proper or who wants to get like their education and who enunciate every word properly without using slang all the time or using ebonics and stuff like that, and how you know there are people saying, oh, I guess you think you're better than us or you trying to be white and stuff. It puts something in their mind that, well, it could possibly put something in their mind that makes them feel that they should not um, you know, talk properly, or it makes them feel pressure to fit in to the stereotypes of like a black person or your culture, and I think that's placing limits on a person. If everyone gave in to the pressure of talking a certain way or trying to be this or trying to be that or whatever, it will cause America and the world to lose people's individuality and people trying to better themselves as a person, and it can really do a lot of damage to our youth. We should lose the skin color attached to it.
I agree. So, moving on to another thing that I think we should discuss or stop is the N word
Hmm.
and the use of the N word. I don't use it at all because I don't think it's a word that we should try to embrace or like take back as our own. I've heard some people say that. I think it just needs to be eliminated. And this double standard of when a white person says the N word too, if they're trying to say it to their black friend, then suddenly a lot of people want to get mad over it. But it's like you can't own a word. So the word should either be okay for everybody to use or for nobody to
Exactly.
use. Preferably nobody.
One time I was called the N word when I was walking from Walmart. I was walking to the car I was riding in, and they had two guys who just so happened to be Caucasian. They yelled, "I'm a N word," and with some other forms of insults or just crazy comments. And I looked back and I just kept walking.
I was called colored once by this one girl here at school, and we were having like a casual conversation, and I can't remember how the word came up, but I was surprised because I had never heard the word used like here in this generation, and this girl was like 23, 24, so she was like my age. Um, so yeah, but I didn't get upset because to me it's like it's just words, and it's like nothing to get extremely hurt over now that we're adults.
Exactly.
So, um, I was watching CNN Who's Black in America special with Soledad O'Brien, and I have to say that I was pretty disappointed with how it was presented. The information seemed very, very one-sided because there were just people, the people were mixed, but they like solely identified as black, and they accredited their identity to the one drop rule, which, as I stated earlier in the video, is like bothersome. It's a racist idea. And so all the mixed people, most of them, just identified as black just because of that. And then there was one girl who didn't identify by race, like period, but the show kind of painted her as more of confused about her identity, and it just seemed to play off of the tragic mulatto myth, which to me is like getting pretty old. And also, when addressing the issue of colorism in the black community between people of lighter skin and darker skin, it just talked about how, darker skinned people may have more of like a color complex or self-confidence issues, and lighter people have privileges. But I think we've already discussed in the video about how lighter people, like, we don't really get these privileges that people keep talking about. Like, I don't see it. And I was also surprised to see at one point in the show, Soledad O'Brien herself mentioned that she embraced the one drop rule, or they were talking about why people embrace the rule. But I was pretty surprised because in all her other specials about race or whenever she's talking about it, I've never heard her say that before until this one. So it just seems to be like she assimilates herself to the people that she's talking to. And so that seemed kind of interesting to me that she would say that. And I don't know, I just thought that it could have been better. It could have showed different viewpoints, have some mixed people, keep some that identify as black, some who identify as mixed, even some who identify as white, because I'm sure there are some out there. And also to take different mixtures, not just black and white, but black and Asian or black and Hispanic, and just mix it up a bit. I think it could have been a lot better.
When people say racism still exist. You know, I've seen it firsthand. It does, but it's so childish that um, my only concern with that is not me being treated a certain way, but it's how it's still going on in society. And this is the 21st century, so that says a lot about our society and how and what we try to do as far as change. It shows that we need more change, and we need to be more accepting. So I feel like the segregation with shades of black and as far as African Americans is so petty, and racism is real petty. And if we eliminate those things, we can be more accepting to other people, other races, other cultures, other nationalities, other orientations and other preferences and ways of life. So we need to unite and stop dividing ourselves.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree.